Welcome to Light Warrior Radio, where our mission is to empower sensitive souls to harness their superpowers and shine their light, so together we can co-create heaven on earth. I'm your host, Dr. 𝗘𝗓𝗡𝗡, author of the #1 best-selling book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower, and founder of the Academy of Light Medicine and the 𝗘𝗘𝗘𝗡 Healing Method. Thank you for joining me.
Hello and welcome to Light Warrior Radio. I'm your host, Dr. 𝗘𝗓𝗡𝗡, and I'm so excited today because my friend Michele Griffith is here with us. Woo! And she and I are both in the Navigating the Clickety-Clack TV series. And also what's really cool is that we have, the whole crew have won, I don't know, I've lost track, how many film festival awards, TV show awards for this. Of course, we're still working on getting it be able to be live for everyone to be able to stream into their living rooms, which is super exciting. And Michele is here because she had this amazing speech that I had the privilege of being in the audience for when she was literally here, physically here in Lake Placid, New York, and had it professionally filmed. It was such a great talk. I'm like, we got to get you, on the radio show to talk more about that stuff. So before I introduce you, Michele, I'm just going to read your bio a little bit. So Michele Griffith is a featured star of the multi-award-winning TV series, like I said, Navigating Clickety-Clack. She's a #1 best-selling author, has been a mental health field since 2003, working as case manager, art therapist, social worker. So she obtained her clinical social work certification in 2019, has been working with clients in an eclectic psychotherapy approach, utilizing evidence-based traditional approach combined with the body-centered interventions, and when the client is open to them, spiritual interventions. She's exploring humanity as mind, body, soul, and enjoying the paradigm shifts in mental health. Thank goodness. Beyond cognitive function, some influences have included positive psychology, wellness, awareness, somatic therapy, breath work, inner work. And I think, our topic today is very, very important, and it's all around fear. So this is what the speech was what is fear telling you? So Michele, thank you for being here. We're so happy that you're here. Yay!
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here in conversation with you, especially about fear. It's so needed in these times.
It's so huge, right?
Yes.
It's like what people are going through. So maybe you can unpack what's your story or a story around fear, because obviously you've had many, many, many years of dealing with other people's stuff in your realm. But what about you personally?
Yeah, I think you had a chance to witness this story I told about moving to another state and being exposed to a different weather pattern than I had ever experienced before. And though I had everything I needed to survive the weather, the sights and sounds and the news, it started to hype up this very hyper aroused experience in me. And I felt it most intensely when I closed my apartment door and I was just faced with myself, and these huge feelings would overtake me. And I realized I was really going to have to deal with this. And when I treated my fear almost like a child, that I could hold their hand and say, I hear you, I see you, and also anchor myself into these pillars of what I know is true. I would open up the curtains and look at the weather, and it was okay. And then I would open up the door and I would ground myself in the reality rather than what the media was feeding me. And I would notice that my fear lessened when I treated myself with kindness and compassion. And when I had these anchors of reality rather than believing a story in my mind, just turning and turning and turning. So that whole experience has fed me through all these transitions since then. There's many things that happen in life that throw me curveballs. And as I walk through them, I can make up a lot of stories in my head and get myself really clicking with the stress response, with fear. Like there's so many unknowns right now. What will happen? And the truth is, I'm okay. As I open up the door, the sun is shining. Before we signed on, the birds were singing. I could hear the birds singing, and those types of exposures to reality help me ground in what is really happening. And when my brain is calm, I can think better.
Yeah, that's huge. So what I'm hearing you say is, you went through this storm, and I will say what it is. It was a hurricane, okay, guys?
It was a hurricane.
It was a hurricane. So I think most people, even the word hurricane, like brings images of fear, thanks to the media and everything else. It's not to say that it cannot be incredibly, destructive, and humans have every right to feel afraid, right? When
Absolutely.
yeah. And so what you're saying is like you started noticing what your body was doing, responding, and perhaps some of the energies that are emanating from media and other people, like are kind of like was in your field, if you will, if you use my vernacular about energy. And then you were really then making a choice, it sounds like, to really,
Absolutely.
yeah,
The story was we were going to be hit with a level 5 hurricane, which, as I looked up those terminologies, that meant utter destruction.
Yeah.
And it also meant I would need to find a shelter.
Yeah.
So to calm my mind, I did do due diligence. I found a shelter. I knew that if it came to that, that's what I would do. And as it turned out, several days later, when the hurricane hit the area, it was a level 1. So there's a huge discrepancy between the story that were
So, James, I'm not sure whether it's me or Michelle that's freezing.
Yeah, she's frozen on my side too.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
To what actually happened, wind blowing, wind and rain. So,
okay. Yeah, you froze a little bit there, but
hope I'm back.
yeah, that's good. Well, it's like the energy of the storm, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, many of us and those on the call as well here, we're actually doing weather magic for everyone's behalf that we're living there. So I think that we're sending a heck of a lot of love. We're so glad that you're safe, and so glad that things turned out a lot less than what they were predicting.
Yes.
But yeah, so you were like doing due diligence to be like, okay, I'm going to do the grounded thing, just making sure that I have plan B, but then also instead of going, oh, I don't have fear. Nope. Fear's not bad. Get out of here. You were literally going, oh, okay. All right.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Absolutely. When I acknowledged it within myself, I realized that lessened the intensity of the fear. When I acknowledged it and said, whoa, this is scary to be in a new experience, to have all these words tossed around and all these predictions of destruction versus, what actually happened was a level 1 hurricane, which was wind and rain.
Mm-hmm.
So walking through that was a real learning experience of how to keep myself in my frontal lobe and in a calm state despite intensity. Like both can be true.
Right. Yes. And given the work that you do, I'm sure you often see people just completely like first trying not to be afraid, but also that their fear literally paralyzes them and they cannot make a decision, not a good one anyway. What you were saying is that when you were accepting and honoring the fear, it would actually started lessening, and then you could actually think straight. Tell me more about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. When I hear people sort of like giving into the fear states and running with the story of it, their mind works from a different place. The mind works from like a limbic system area, which is kind of the midbrain, or even the base of our brain stem, which is fight or flight. And when we're thinking in a different part of our brain, we just cling to survival. You know, there's a sense of desperateness, or a definite sense of resistance. Like, I don't want to look at that. And so by keeping myself calm and in my frontal lobe, I was able to think, well, if the worst does come, I better be prepared. And what does that look like? Where are the shelters? How can I get myself there? And once I had those pieces of information, I could sense, oh, my system feels calm because I know if the worst comes to fruition, then I'll be okay.
Yeah, I love that, how you accepted the fear, like didn't treat it as a bad thing, right? But just accepted it, got the message, it calmed you down to that point where you were grounded. Then that it went from like back here, the reptilian, like limbic areas, right, to the frontal, cortex, where we can think properly, like logical thinking and all that kind of stuff. And then you could do step by step, like what to do next. And you were in a place of calm doing that, rather than frantic, which gets us seemingly nowhere quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. And were there
panic
certain
states,
were there certain, like, some people would probably ask, like, how did you accept it? Like, how does one get from that fight or flight to the place where we're honoring and accepting our emotions? Like, is there a step in there somewhere, like a tool or something?
Yeah, I do teach an intensity scale to the people that I work with, and that raises so much awareness for what our body cues are giving us. So if you can imagine a Likert scale from 0 to 10, as we are talking right now, we're probably at a 4 or a 5, because we are in the middle states. We're in conversational style speaking, we're using our frontal lobe. You're already thinking ahead of the game, like, how does this happen? and so those are great questions that your frontal lobe is delivering. If we go to the other end, like 0, 1, 2, 3, we're either asleep, we're highly medicated, we're disconnected, we're numb. And so that is one way that I tell people that I discourage the use of alcohol or drugs to help our inner states, because it takes us out of our frontal lobe and into these disconnected and numb states where we kind of lose touch with our own innate intelligence. We're relaxed, perhaps, we're unaware too, which can be very dangerous. Now, if we go to the other end of the spectrum, 6, 7, and 8 is where we're starting to amp up. And it's good to know, what are my amping up signs? Like, I know when I start to amp up, my temperature changes very, very quickly. I'll get a flash of heat and my heart will start beating very quickly. I might even feel a little bit more sweat on, like, my lip or my brow. And I just recognize that in myself, that flash of adrenaline. And I can choose then, okay, this is within a place where I can make a choice, 6, 7, and 8. I can choose to bring myself back down. I can take a walk. I can breathe, I can journal, I can take some great chamomile tea or something that is really pleasing to me, sometimes a little chocolate, something that really brings me back to my embodiment. And it might be different for everybody, you know. You just need to know going further, like you can't seem to calm.
Okay, we're getting a little bit of breaking up
And you
here.
find yourself
Yeah, sorry.
in a
So
9.
so 6 to 8 is like you have a choice point. You can either, well, choice point is you can choose to use different tools to try to get yourself. Oh, I think we lost her. James, you can bring her back when her internet is back. So it sounds like, guys, just to reiterate what Michele was saying. So there's this middle point where we're
Yeah.
kind of in regular conversation, right? And then there's that 6 to 8 where we have like, okay, we're starting to amp up, and then we're noticing we're more amped up, and then we can use some tools if we want to be able to address some of that. And then after that, what did you say?
Yes. Okay. If we skip into 9 and 10, there might be signs of extreme panic states or anger states where there's little intervention that can take place because there's only expression that can happen. In a nervous system that is that intense, there's only expression. So that is your permission slip to stop everything. Pause. Do not interact with anyone. Just allow yourself to be internal and come back into your body, because there is no intervention that or no communication that would take place at that state.
Yeah.
So 4 or 5 is the optimal state.
Okay. 4 or 5 is optimal. Yeah, that's very interesting, Michele. I never thought of it that way, that at that panic terror stage, like that 9 or 10, you could try a bunch of tools, but that's not really what you're saying. Is that's not really the strategy. Is it like it's more like get back in your body? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, yes. It's like crisis mode, whatever it takes. You know, some people respond to like wrapping themselves in a blanket where they can actually feel something around them, and that's something that you can purchase a weighted blanket.
So I just got one of those.
It's wonderful. It feels like a big hug.
Yeah,
where you can actually feel yourself returning to your body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's very interesting because Michele, one of my other books that 𝗘𝗘𝗘𝗏 had published is my Sensitivity is Your Superpower book. And when I was talking about embodiment, I went through this thing where I was watching a scary movie, and I literally was in that 9 or 10. I was in that terror panic mode, seeing this ghost, these scenes over and over in my mind. It was freaking me out. And I tried meditation, yoga, mantras, progressive relaxation, chanting. Nothing was working. I was just terrified out of my mind. So of course, it took 3 days for me to fall back asleep normally. And then when when The Ring 2 came out, I had to watch it just to see what happened. And I thought, oh, here we go again. But this time, instead of, yes, I was a 9 out of 10 again, but instead of trying the strategies, I just decided I was going to be scared and lay in bed and just feel the freak out in my body. And it was so fascinating. Like I felt like the bed was moving because my heart was pumping so fast, and I was so fascinated by this sensation in my body, which 5 seconds ago I was not actually aware of, that I fell asleep.
Wow. So you
So that's what
really
you're
let
talking
the
about, this
emotion move.
embodiment.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. It's really neat. It's very neat. So is there something else you want to share with us in terms of other things that you've learned or with your clients or examples?
Well, I would like to say, I'm so appreciative that mental health is in conversation. Like it's more
Mm,
acceptable to talk openly about mental health and qualities of uh, seeking therapy, or what is happening with yourself. There has been a few things that I've noticed in that evolution, that a lot of people who are not qualified to diagnose are diagnosing themselves, or
oh, okay, let's go there.
they're listening to a family member say, "Hey, I read this about a, a, a diagnosis, and you've got it. You need to go to therapy."
Oh, Michelle froze again. Um, I,
Okay,
I I don't know
I'm
whether it's
back.
my internet or yours. So if somebody could in the chat just let us know if it's me that's freezing or is Michelle freezing, that'd be great for our participants here. Um, sorry, Michelle, we missed half of that. But it sounds like people are self-diagnosing
Oh,
their own.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. And
Yes,
let me
and
let me
so I might just, yeah,
yeah, let me stop your video and you can start it again after a while if we
okay,
get your audio good. Sorry about that, but let's stop the video and then we can just see if your audio is better.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
okay,
so
that'd be perfect. Okay.
yeah, let me know. So what you said was that like people are, it's Dr. Google, Michelle, right?
It's Dr. Google, exactly. As a physician, you know what that's like, to have people come in and say, you know, I have the worst possible diagnosis, and as you are in conversation and you triage what the symptoms actually are, you can help them understand what it is versus what they thought it was, and develop a treatment plan that works for them. And so I do have these conversations quite frequently now about, diagnosis differentiation, which is,
Mm,
someone else gave you this information, and perhaps it was a family member, or perhaps it was on the internet, and here is what I heard from you and our conversation. And so there is some nuance to the therapeutic process, and it's so beneficial to have that conversation, to bring forth what is happening in the conversation among friends and family, to I guess perception check, to make sure that this is correct thinking. Um, because we talked about the intensity scale. When emotions become very intense, they can feel really crazy. They
mm,
can feel very out of control. And when family members see intense emotions and they are not feeling emotions themselves, it might be easy to say, you're looking crazy, you need to go see a therapist. And so the person makes up a lot of stories about, you know, what this experience is for themselves. And come to find out, in a safe place with safe conversation, we come up with some really great interventions about educating the person about what are emotions, how to feel them, how to release them, how to process them.
Mm.
Um,
Yes. Yeah, I think that you've touched on a really important point, Michelle. I didn't even think of asking this. I'm so glad you started this part of the conversation, because I believe that half of the difficulty or challenges, people are already going through whatever they're going through. And then their families then project their fears and
mhm.
issues onto the person already experiencing stuff, saying either you need to be fixed, or you have to do this, or you should go to your doctor and get this drug that I just saw on TV because it'll fix
Yes.
you. Like, they're so uncomfortable with other people's emotions. I know I am, or was,
Mhm,
much better now, but
mhm,
oh my
mhm,
gosh, I mean, I just freeze myself if someone's freaking out in front of me. I just want them to, like, not do that.
mhm, mhm,
So yeah, so being in a professional situation where it's safe, to express, sometimes it is not actually safe, as in safe to your body, but not safe emotionally to express to your closest friends and family, because they don't get it. They're not professional. They
mhm,
shouldn't be your therapist. I know I've tried to be
mhm.
people's therapist as family members. It never works, right?
Yeah, family usually cannot treat family.
No,
Mhm,
no, it's very difficult. And yeah, to have that objective but caring person giving the space, then things can be reframed, perceptions can be shifted if appropriate, and then the value of being heard and being seen,
mhm,
and not be like pushed away, like, oh, you don't feel that way, or oh, it'll be fine. Oh, it used to bug the heck out of me when I was really
mhm.
sick. People are like, oh, it'll be fine. And I'm like, the F it will, because I'm like, they're not in my body. Like, they don't know what I'm going through. Just because I look
Mhm,
normal, I don't feel normal. And it used to
mhm.
really piss me off when people would go, oh, it'll all work out. I'd be like, can somebody give me a gun here? Because I was really pissed back
Sure,
then.
sure. Yeah, those kind of feeling states deserve more engaged conversation and a good practitioner will be that you've been told these kind of stood or feeling really bad or feeling really frustrated about not feeling a beautiful narrative to bring to therapy and to engage in that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Michelle, you're still breaking up a little bit, unfortunately, but
Doggone
um,
it. Okay.
it's okay. It's okay. Um, yeah, so I think it is important to have the right relationship and person to be able to share vulnerably how we really feel. Maybe that's a therapist, maybe that's a coach, it could be different professionals, but I think it is important when we're ready to seek the help of a professional, not necessarily listen to all our family and friends, well meaning,
Hmm.
but they're just not in the right objective space to help us.
Hmm.
um yeah, and so I know, given everything you've done and learned, your way of therapy is, or psychotherapy, is very different from what I experienced when I first got out of med school. Like, there's a
Hmm.
lot of newer, I don't want to say new age, but like newer, more expanded tools. Tell us about that.
Well, I think it's becoming more and more acceptable to talk about the nervous system and uh, think approaches like polyvagal theory made it very understandable to have a conversation to share this shared vocabulary about different states that our nervous system can experience and how to use the cooperation between mind and body to help ourselves deliver that calm state to ourselves. Um, there's very evidence-based practices like cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy, which are beautiful foundations that can be shared experience, because most clients have experienced CBT or DBT, and then use that to build on that, because people are still ready to develop and grow from those basics. They want to really acknowledge there's something more going on with me. I want to understand me. I want to understand how it is that I'm, having these experiences. And, polyvagal theory is one that I really enjoy working with to explain mood states. And there's, your work has really stood out to understand the complexity of the human being in a spiritual sense, that, we're multidimensional beings, and that we're perhaps conditioned to think of ourselves in only a cognitive sense. And so when we broaden the definition of who we are into a mind, body, soul, or a mind, body, spirit, it opens up our perception to be very, very curious. And I don't pretend to know or be an expert in that approach, but I will stand with someone and be very, very curious with them and explore with them, because I truly believe the person that I'm conversing with is the expert on them. That when they learn to listen to that small, still voice within them, that is their key to their own wisdom. They have such solutions buried deep within them. And, we can build very low risk experiments to help cultivate that relationship with that small, still voice.
That's beautiful. Yes, I love when the empowerment piece, where it's not the therapist or coach or whatever telling you what to do, because we've all had lots of people telling us what to do, growing up, but really being able to be curious, like side by side in partnership, so that that therapist or coach can extract the wisdom from each person within. And that is so valuable, because we're really going to listen to ourselves a lot more in general than other people.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And for folks listening in, we also will have some show notes below this, so you can check out Michele in the Navigating the Clickety-Clack trailer, also the book. Michele is in volume 2 of the Navigating the Clickety-Clack series. I'm in volume 1. All the volumes were #1 international award-winning best-selling books. Wow, that was a big mouthful. And so that's super exciting. That's reaching, so many people. And Michele, if somebody were to want to talk to you more or work with you, perhaps in therapy or, coaching or something like that, where would they be able to connect with you?
Well, the easiest way to connect with me is through my email. And I can make sure that is in
give it to
your
me
show
now? We'll
notes.
put it in the chat.
Okay. It's my first and middle name. It's MicheleTamsen, T like Tom, A, M like Mary, S like Sam, EN like Nancy @yahoo.com.
MicheleTamsen @yahoo.com.
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's fantastic. I think there may be people that want to more of a private, conversation with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just to unpack a few things, see if it's a good fit. I think having that beautiful, wonderful, supportive partner when we're going through stuff, and who isn't going through stuff, but seriously, I think it's so important, because I remember in medical school when I was really having a hard time with my parents, I found a clinical social worker I was referred to, a lovely Asian woman. Actually, it was really helpful in this case,
Yeah.
because it was some of the Asian cultural stuff clashing with the Western culture that was really problematic for me. And so her being Asian, a little older, was super helpful. And she was such a kind, beautiful person that held the space for me.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. And I really needed to express, I really need to share, because I guess I felt like I couldn't in my family, that I was just shut down. And many of us sensitive souls feel that sometimes, just shut down by our families, or, people close to well-meaning.
Absolutely. Well-meaning.
Yeah, well-meaning. And so that was really, really valuable. And there are other times where many of us have done therapy, right? We've been hurt, we've been seen, and then now we need to step into a greater version of ourselves. And that's where that expanded, role that you have can be really helpful. Like what, that curiosity, like the spiritual meanings perhaps, and, other tools so we can empower ourselves. Is not just about somebody just listening to us gripe about something.
And we've been talking about fear. I've noticed there's always a connection between the spiritual life and fear, because there's a reluctance to share openly about our spiritual experiences, because what does it sound like? It sounds very, very interesting to people like you and me. But to someone who may not be open to having these kind of conversations, it may not be so well received.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you, Michele. I think we'll open it up actually to our live panel. So whoever who are participating here, if you want to share a few things either in the chat, a question, or you can just raise your virtual hand on Zoom to ask a question, or you can just even unmute and ask a question for Michele. That would be awesome. Yeah, it doesn't have to be about fear. It doesn't have to be about therapy. It can be anything at all related to, kind of the emotions, what we're talking about. And if it is about fear, great, ask that. All right. And so Michele, I'm going to try to put I'm going to ask you to start your video again. Let's see if we can.
Oh, sure.
See, the audio seems to be better right now. There we go. Okay. So yeah, just waiting for anybody to share anything they want in there. This is your opportunity. Maria, thank you, Maria. What advice do you have of interacting with potential client who may be at that 9 or 10 state, and the best way to approach readiness conversation? I'm not sure what you mean by readiness conversation, but maybe Michele knows what you mean.
Yeah. I have been there. I've sat with people in hospitalized environments, hospitalizations, or clinic environments where it was sort of like an emergent situation. And so many times they cannot hear in that hyper aroused state, but they can see, and they're very sensitive to nonverbals. So I always or I learned to keep a calm inner space and keep a pleasant look on my face, even if the person is panicking or yelling, to really hold the space of calm and be with the person, and not use any kind of calm nonverbal gestures, and reassure the person in a ordinary conversational voice, like I'm here with you. We're gonna get through this together. We're gonna walk through this together. And the intense states will not last forever. The body doesn't hold that intense energy for a long time. So that's to your benefit. So if you can imagine that person finding their way back to even a 6, 7, 8, or a 4 or a 5, that can help. If you can actually believe in that person to hold the space of, I know you have the capacity to find your way back, and I'm going to be with you until you do. I'm not going to abandon you. I'm going to be with you.
Yeah, I
It's
think that's
amazing. It may
huge.
feel like a really long time, but it does work in a relatively short time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. So I think sometimes that 9 or 10 can be really scary for us.
Yes.
Right. And
It
so what
can
you're
be.
saying is if we can just be there with them, hold that space, not reassure them in terms of, oh, I'll fix you, or this is what you should do, not, or it'll all be fine. Like not that kind of, not patriarchal, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That top
patronizing
down.
or fantasy. We're not building
Right.
a make-believe here. We're doing this real time,
Yeah.
and it's critical because if we become excited and aroused, we're only going to make them more aroused. So if they go intense, we got to stay down in this lower space to hold that space for them. And what comes to mind is many of us have had experiences as children where we were exposed to something out of our control that made us very, very scared, and our body will automatically react like it did, from memory.
Right.
And so this is a great thing to resolve, that as a child, we don't have choices, but as an adult, we have a growing capacity for many, many choices. There's many, many possibilities. So if you find yourself reacting or feeling scared, treating yourself like that inner child that perhaps learned how to be scared of something out of their control, and hold that space within you, because that's only going to help the person that you're holding space for.
Wow, that is really, really important and profound. I never thought of it before recently. Whereas if we are holding the space for our own inner child, our fears and all that, which is what you said at the beginning of the show, right? In terms of your hurricane experience, then we have a greater capacity, not just compassion, but capacity to hold the space for others because we're holding it for ourselves. Yeah. Yeah, that's really huge. And the other thing I wanted to mention, Michele, is that, some of us are studying reflective listening with Dr. David Wolf. And what's very interesting is what he says is that, mirroring what they're saying. Now, this may or may not be appropriate to 9 and 10, although he's done it very successfully, even in, like, he used to be a war zone negotiator. Okay.
Sure.
Is he would actually, which is exactly the opposite of what you said, but both are true. Here's the interesting thing. He said that if you can actually reflect back what they said with the energy of and affect of what they said and be in their space, they actually also often calm down. Like, because they
interesting.
like you get, the data has shown that sometimes if you not counter, but if you match their energy. So if they're like, rah, 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 and you match that energy, but you just repeat what they say in the energy, and they feel like you get them. So you're not trying to
feel understood. That makes sense.
They felt understood and calm. And also I like what you said as well. So I like try both options, right?
Yeah, there's many choices available.
Yeah.
I love that you shared that. Yeah. Because mirror neurons are one of our greatest benefits that we can use to reflect our emotional state to them. And so he's doing it very skillfully to say, yeah, I get that. That really hurts. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I know it's a lot harder when the energy is coming at me personally. Like if someone's angry at me personally, it's harder to do. And I'm getting good practice with my mom.
Yes. Yes.
I know she loves me, right? So,
absolutely.
it's just funny because I was practicing reflective listening and she was literally yelling at the bank and she's like, stop controlling me. And I was like, well, good thing the door is closed. And I was like, okay, reflective listening. So you think I'm controlling you and you want me to stop controlling you. That's about as much as I could gather. I couldn't yell as large as I just couldn't do it. And she's like, yes. And then that was it. And there's stories like that's it. She's not going to argue.
So it really worked for you, real time.
I'm like, this worked. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think at times I haven't had the right, not the right, but the ideal words when I'm trying to do the reassurance thing for my mom. And then it just kind of snowballs until she needs to gripe more and gripe more and gripe more and gripe more. And I'm like, this is not working. Right.
Yes.
Because I didn't have the same words that you had. Like, I'm going to stick with it, like stick with you or do this together, get through this together. Right. Because I was just trying to make her feel better. And that wasn't the right.
I appreciate what you shared because you reflected back to her, but you showed ultimate empathy for her state of being. And you didn't cause an argument. There was no reason for her to continue because there was no argument. There was no defensiveness. There was no point of view from where I'm sitting. It's just I see you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think, none of us are going to be expert at anything until we practice, right? Like you had to personally like go through all this training and you've had all these clients and you figured out what works, what doesn't work, the words to say, your style. And so each of us can just start, practicing the best we can based on the knowledge and, some of the wisdom you shared here today. And, just hone that ability. And then for ourselves on the other end, be able to seek that right guidance, that right match with someone who, is holding the space for us. And that's, like I said, my, med school years was so important. I really needed someone to really understand me and listen to me. And that was so helpful. Cause I was like, I don't know if I can do this,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I have to say, practitioners are human too.
Yeah.
So there is evidence for the therapeutic factor in therapy is the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So if you meet up with a therapist and it's not working, you walk away feeling less than, or you feel judged, you could do a couple of things. You could go back to the therapy and admit, this is the state that was inspired in me from our last conversation. I felt really judged when I heard you say blah, 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 or I felt really small when you said blah, blah, blah. I don't like that. And depending on how you can work in that dynamic, that may be the therapist for you, or it may not be. So there's a great article about 10 things to look for in your own personal search for a therapist. And I could share that with you later, so you could include it in the show notes. But the main message is to interview your therapist and make sure it's a good match.
Yeah, great. And I love that. It's fairly advanced to be able to come back into, because some people still feel it's like an authority thing. Absolutely. Where they don't want to question the therapist. But it would be so amazing in any relationship to be able to communicate with compassion and nonviolence, if you will, to say, when you said this, I felt this. Not that you made me feel this, but I felt this when you said this. And then if the therapist is doing their own personal work, hopefully, then they'll get feedback. And if they don't feel blamed and they don't take it personally, then it elevates their game, right, as a therapist.
Absolutely.
I think
Yes.
anyway. Yeah, I mean, we would like evolved therapists like that.
Yes.
And James has a question.
Absolutely.
Okay, so do you
Okay.
use fear as an indicator? Okay, do you use fear as an indicator that something is out of balance? It's like a little friend letting you know maybe something's out of balance. Do you
Mm.
feel? Yeah.
I definitely pay attention to my inner states, and fear is one of them that surfaces that I become very curious about.
Mm.
I'll do. I have a therapeutic process going on right now. I'll bring it to that relationship, or I will write about it. Um, I'll be super curious because as I'm learning, I could let fear stop me in my tracks. I could let it paralyze me. I could let it make me limited in the life that I want to live. Sometimes fear means I'm actually breaking through to the next level or the next upgrade, and it feels super super uncomfortable. So I have to really be discerning. You know, if if I am safe, if I am okay in my mind and body and soul, and I'm feeling afraid, um, it could be that I'm getting ready to grow, and I
Wow.
do need to uh, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Discernment.
Yes,
James,
discernment. Yeah.
James, did you want to comment anything?
Um, yeah, that's like one of the things that what was it that hold on one second. Yeah, so a lot of the times I would never use fear as an indicator for things that are out of balance. It's just like when I put my message up here or my question to you, that was fear for me. I felt it in my body. It was like
Mm,
vibrating. It was like, it's like, oh my God, okay, I need to put this question up because, you know what I mean? Like you just said, you know, what I mean, it's like, it must be, it's that that's the time to grow. So I put it up there. Now I'm just like sitting with the vibrations in my body right now. They are rushing through me. But
that's amazing. So how does it feel now that you've not only had that experience, but you've verbalized it? That's very courageous.
yeah,
How
it's
does
now
it
start.
feel now?
The intensity isn't as much. It feels like it's integrating and it feels kind of it feels smooth now and not
Mm.
so rough kind of thing because I could t still tell I gotta sit with it a little bit more in the body because you know what I mean I'm sitting in the body and feeling it is kind of a new thing for me right now. So it's I'm just taking little waves at a time and stuff. So so
I
yeah,
I'm just honored to hear that. Thank you for sharing.
yeah, my
That is
pleasure.
wonderful. Very courageous.
Mm.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yay, I love that. I love that. And for some of us it does take courage to do things that maybe other people they don't feel like it's that big a deal, but we need to
Mhm.
honor each of our what what it triggers or whatever, right? Like for example,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Read the
somebody says
context.
exactly. Somebody says, ghosts, demons. Eileen go, yeah, cool, right? Other people are like, oh my God, don't talk about that stuff. It's scary, right? Um,
Sure.
yeah. So that's great. Thank you, James, for speaking up. Good for you. And I think we're running out of time, Michele, but we
Oh,
have had such a great
beautiful.
time with you today. Thank you so
Such a great
much.
time with you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So in the show notes, we are going to put in all the links for the navigating, the Clickety-Clack, the trailers, and the for the TV series, as well as the links to the volume 2, where Michele is a featured author in that book. And then I think that, probably instead of the email address, which if you did hear it, you heard it. Um, but we might not put that
Oh,
on the show notes per se, just because we don't want
oh,
spam.
okay. Sure.
But you can
Oh,
always
thank
email
you.
support@KarenCan.com and we'll forward it to Michele.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, my
Well,
friend.
I
It's an
thank you.
honor.
Thank you for arranging a whole panel today. It was so lovely to see those names up and engage with you all. It occurred to me after James said his narrative. Has anybody seen Thunderbolts, the movie, the new Marvel movie that came out?
Is that the one with the two women?
Uh-huh.
No, I did not. Did we see that, James? I don't
It's
think so.
it's worth seeing.
Okay.
There's quite a bit about fear in it, and there's one particular sense where, kind of like you just said, there was a woman that really leaned into fear, and it's just amazing. It gives me goosebumps to
Oh,
even remember that scene.
oh wait, maybe
It's
I
a
did see
powerful
it.
scene.
Okay, okay. I might watch it again then. It's a comedy though, right?
The Thunderbolts,
Yeah,
it's kind of, yeah.
kind of.
They're
Okay.
like a group of misfits that are superheroes.
Oh, that's a different one I'm thinking. Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. And
Okay, we'll check it
yeah,
out. All right, thanks. Thank you, my dear friend.
okay.
Bye,
See
Michele.
you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, everyone,
Bye.
for being here on the live panel. Thank you, James, for co-hosting. Until next time on Light Warrior Radio. Bye. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. If it resonated with you, would love for you to hit subscribe and the like button and perhaps share it with someone who's like-minded who would appreciate it. And in the meantime, would love to connect with you in my light medicine community. It's absolutely free to join, and it's for sensitive souls who wish to receive love and support and also to share who they really are. It's a safe space for each of us to really shine. So I'll put the link below, as well as this week's offerings and freebies, and we will see you there.